Yes, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
In the context of your talk about massive social change and upheaval and revolution coming,
Yeah.
do you support Ahmadinejad of Iran in this?
Dun 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 dun.
Thank you for the sound effects.
Yeah, I had to bring that because, you know, for the effect.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You don't even have to say no more.
Yeah, you know, it's like here's the thing. One of the things you're going to see, one of the ways that you know that another period is coming up, check this out. Let's go back. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, Said Qutb, Patrice Lumumba, Che Guevara, Fidel Castro, all these were all contemporary figures. These people were alive at the same time in the world. I'm just naming a few. These people were alive at the same time in the world. One of the things we see today is we see these other contemporary figures coming up who are challenging U.S. imperialism. They're challenging colonialism. They're challenging them. And Malcolm said it. If you take a stand against imperialism, if you take a stand against colonialism, Malcolm said, one of the things they're going to call you is terrorist. Malcolm said it. And so if we're taking a stand, if those people are taking a stand against imperialism and colonialism, they're going to be presented in the Western press in a very negative way. Come on, that's common sense, y'all. There's no way that the empire is going to honor those leaders who are challenging the empire. You feel me? And so what happens is, when we accept leaders who we choose, who we say, yeah, he's cool, and other people don't like that, that's what comes with the territory. That's what happens. Because we're not going to choose anyone who supports empire. We're not going to choose anyone who supports colonialism. We're not going to choose anyone who supports racism. We're going to choose someone who's fighting for self-determination, for self-rule. That's what we're going to choose. Now, those who support empire, they ain't going to like that. They ain't going to like it. And so Malcolm said when he dies, this is what they're going to say about me. They're going to say this, I taught hate and advocated violence. And that's exactly what they said. And so in this particular case, the people who they talk, the Western media, and those who were supportive of Western imperialism, and colonialism, and racism, and apartheid, they're not going to like those leaders who challenge those unjust systems. But those are the leaders who we should say, yeah, I like them.
So the answer is yes, you like Ahmadinejad.
Not just him. Not just him. Oh my gosh.
So how come students in Iran are rebelling against Ahmadinejad?
Excuse me, sir.
If you look at what's happening in Iran, the comparison of the uprising in Egypt, here's what they tried to do. Here's what the press tried to do. The Westerners tried to do. And, you know, they tried to say that what's happening in Iran compares to what's happening in Egypt now. No. What's happening in Egypt now compares to Iran in 1979. Because if you look at what's happening in Iran now, it is not a mass movement. You cannot compare what's happening in Iran to what's happening in Egypt right now. It is not a mass movement. I know you would like to think it is because it feels comfortable to think it is. No. This is 1979. If you want to talk about Iran, we could talk about that. It's not a mass movement. It's not a mass movement. Oh, we can also say, too, that the Jews in Iran don't live in refugee camps.
Would that be all 74 Jews?
Excuse me?
All 74.
I was actually going to ask about the Iranian Revolution, and I also could go back to the 2009 elections and the violence that happened afterwards.
Yeah. Let's talk about 2009 violence that happened. Remember the idiot was in the White House? When the idiot was in the White House,
Obama?
He came out, George W. Bush.
2009 was Obama.
George W. Bush. When, I didn't call Obama an idiot. I didn't call him an idiot.
But 2009...
I call basically a servant of empire. But George W. Bush, he's an idiot. And so, hold on. In 2009...
Obama was the president in 2009.
Okay. But before that, George Bush, check out. In 2008, George Bush announced that he was allowing psychological operations in Iran against the Iranian government. When Barack Obama came in, he went ahead and he continued the policy of George Bush. And so when that situation went down in Iran, that was straight up CIA inspired. There are documents telling this. There are documents where George Bush said he was going to do it.
You in the back.
I'd like to thank the Arab masses in 1940 driving out 1 million Jews. They had to go to Israel because they had no other place to go.
Where's this at?
1 million Jews were out the Arab countries by your so-called masses. And they went to Israel, so they did a great job for Israel.
1940s?
1948.
Who kicked them out?
The Arabs, your friends.
What country?
Libya, Egypt, Iraq, including your beautiful Iran.
You know what?
1 million, and they are great Zionists. We have to thank you.
Hands up. Even if what the gentleman said is true, if you look over the history of how Muslims treated Jews, your golden age was when we controlled Spain. These are new programs, and that's why when many of you got kicked out of Spain, when we both got kicked out of Spain, it's okay, they are right. When we both got kicked out of Spain, many of the Jews went to Muslim countries. Why? Because it was known that we got y'all backs. It's just, the problem is that when y'all got power.
You talked about Islamic movements and Islamic governments. As far as I know, in Islamic governed countries, if a person becomes Muslim by becoming a Christian, there's a death penalty. Is that true? And if so, why? It's real different than a lot of other countries in the world, including Israel and the United States.
You heard that.
To our non-Muslim friends, it's really important that you understand what's taking place here. You understand what's taking place here? Because this is the reality of the situation. The two places in the world that's challenging U.S. imperialism are Latin America and the Muslim world. Those are two places in the world that are challenging U.S. imperialism.
Let them get there.
So what is happening here? What is happening here? Listen, what is happening here is that we have never ever, background info. We have never ever, as Muslims, been beaten by that type of mentality. And what I mean by that is that the Zionist enterprise, and this is very, very critical, as we go to this next stage of struggle, I'm talking to the non-Muslims who are here. You have to take a position of support to the Palestinians. You have to look at the situation in Palestine. And you have to see who's the oppressor, who's the oppressed, who is David, and who's Goliath. And you must stand with the oppressed. You must stand with the Palestinians. Now, if you stand with the Palestinians, you will be called everything in the book. You'll be called anti-Semites, anti-Semitic. You'll be called all kinds of stuff if you stand with the Palestinians. It is true that as we get stronger in that part of the world, we're going to deal with that issue once and for all. We're going to deal with that issue of apartheid once and for all. So now, in terms of your question, that can happen, but also no. If someone decides to do that, if someone says they don't want to be a Muslim anymore, they have the right to do that.
Why in Afghanistan are there 2 men currently under a death sentence working here?
She's talking about Afghanistan. Afghanistan? No, listen. You're talking about, but listen though. You're talking about a place that's currently being occupied. My goodness, you're talking about a place that is under occupation. That you're talking about a place that the Soviet Union declared war on for at least 10 years. You're talking about a place that's being occupied right now, and now you expect to use Afghanistan as a standard? Let us get the occupiers out first. And then we'll talk about Afghanistan.
What about Egypt? against the law, it still probably is to change your religion, and you get beheaded for it.
Oh gosh, that is so not true. That is so not true. Why are you gonna say something like that? That is so not true. The thing is here's the thing. The thing is, really, seriously, this is what happens though. The thing is to make Islam look so bad and ill, nasty, right? To make the people just turn away from it. That's all. But check this out. In spite of all that, the fastest growing religion in America is Islam. The fastest growing religion in Europe is Islam. The fastest growing religion in Africa is Islam. In spite of, and Latin America too, in spite of all this negative propaganda against Islam, if you try to slam Islam to the ground, if you try to slam it to the ground and tell people how bad it is, and tell people to stay away from it, and to tell people the Prophet Muhammad, ill, the Holy Quran, ill, the more you slam Islam to the ground, the higher and faster it comes, so keep slamming. Look, I'm a black man too. And let me tell you something. One of the reasons why I'm sensitive to justice and injustice, because I'm a black man. Because the things I go through and my people have gone through, I am sensitive to injustice. The things that some of y'all have gone through and your people, in terms of the Holocaust, how could you be insensitive to injustice? What you went through in the Holocaust is supposed to make you sensitive to how people are treated. What you went through in the Holocaust is supposed to make you like advocates, standard bearers for justice. And the Holocaust was serious. Or did you put out there that I denied the Holocaust? The Holocaust was serious. But that's supposed to make you sensitive to justice. You can't go through something like that and do this to another people and it not affect you. No. And I'm saying this as a black man. You got to stand with the oppressed. In the back, sorry.
Back to your question about how
go ahead, sis.
for Muslims that convert to Christianity in Middle Eastern countries, I'm a living testimony of that. My family had to leave the country because we lived there legally as Christians that used to want to be Muslims. My aunt is currently in persecution. She can't leave the country.
What country?
Egypt. Because she converted to Christianity. Her and my 5 cousins are hiding because they can't live a normal life. So I mean, they don't
and who's in control of Egypt? And who's in control of Egypt at this time?
The military.
Okay, but it's, I mean, this has been going on for years.
And who's been in control of Egypt for years? Excuse me?
But, I mean,
No, because look what type look what the type of system a dictator set up. Dictators set up a certain climate in a society. Dictators set up a certain type of climate where there's intolerance in a society. Dictators set up a type of climate in a society where people are cold towards each other. That's what dictators do. So you're going to talk about Egypt under Mubarak and say, yeah, see, that's how Islam is. Come on now. That's not fair.